Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me already, then my name is Sarah and I am a flower farmer in East Yorkshire in the UK, and I'm coming to you from one of my flower fields, which is kind of coming to the end of the growing season now. It is the 23rd of September, I think, and things are slowing down a bit. I have got a few successions like those sunflowers and things behind me that are just coming into flower now that'll see us through until the end of the growing season. But overall it's been a really good growing season this year. I've really enjoyed growing flowers this season, and I've seen it as well through a new set of eyes, because if you've been following me on Instagram or on any of my recent YouTube videos, you'll know that I am currently on a regenerative farming journey, and I've been doing lots of research. I'm constantly plugged into regenerative farming podcasts and audio books, and on a night time I'm always watching YouTube videos and doing lots of research into regenerative farming practices. So I've kind of had a new lease of life this year, and I'm really excited about the way that that is going to change the way that I'm farming, hopefully for the better, and help me to produce better quality plants and feed the soil and just create a better ecosystem around the farm. So that's really given me a good old boost of energy this year. Usually in September time it is a bit of a lull period for me, and I kind of start taking a bit too much time off and get a bit too relaxed about getting the field sorted and things. But this year I feel like I've just been like full speed ahead all summer, and I have taken breaks off. Obviously you need to do that for sanity, but I have been so excited to get back to work once I've had my little break and continue working on soil health and things like that. So things that I've got going on in the pipeline is the worm farm. So I'll bring you a separate video giving you an update on the worm farm, because lots of people have been asking about that. So I will make a separate video about the worm farm and about how that's getting on. I'm also in the process of setting up a compost tea maker, so I'll make a video about that too. That all the parts for that should be arriving today, so I'm hoping to set that up and experiment with that. I also have a microscope coming to me hopefully next week. It ended up being a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be, and I just want to thank everybody again for their generosity in helping me with buying me coffees and things like that to help towards the microscope fund. But hopefully that's going to be sorted out next week, and I can start bringing you images of the soil biology that I'm hoping to trying to foster on the farm. And I also went on a course recently on soil microscopy and also soil and also composting. So I've been getting into composting. I made one compost heap after the course that I'd been on. It kind of worked, but I'd put the wrong ingredients into the compost heap, and it didn't work out exactly the way that I wanted to. So I'm in the process of getting revved up ready for the next compost thermophilic pile build, and I'll bring that to you in another video. There's so many videos in the pipeline, guys, but yes, so there's all of those different aspects: compost teas, composting, soil microscopy, the worm farming, that is hopefully going to bring new renewed biology to the farm and help with those symbiotic relationships with the plants and create healthy plants and good quality flowers, which is the goal at the end of all of this. And hopefully I can take you all along with the journey and educate you guys on how you can do the same in your environment to bring biology back to our farms, because most farms are depleted because of the way that we've treated them over the last few hundred years. So I think we need to really get back to nature and start working with it instead of against it. So in today's video I'm going to be just walking you around the farm and showing you some of the things that have been going on and my plans for over the winter, and then I've got a couple of exciting announcements to share with you guys as well, so keep posted on that. And that's going to be something that's going to be available to everybody internationally, not just local people. So I'm trying to bring more things to people across the world rather than just people in my local area. since I'm already in this field, I might as well start here and explain what's been going on in this area. So this field has been great this year. It's been really productive, and I feel like I've really kind of nailed it this year with crop production in here. I've grown quite a lot of stuff that has been really usable and pretty healthy, considering the fact that my soil is pretty not in too much of a good condition in here, but the plants seem to have done really well this year, so I'm glad about that. And this row here behind me has been really productive. So I've had snapdragons, then some grasses, then some helichrysum and some rudbeckia. Those flowers have been the absolute staples of the flower farm this year. They've been going into every kind of bouquet that I've been making for my subscription customers, for the workshops, and for hand-tied bouquets that people have ordered online. And then the cosmos has been doing great as well. I wish I'd have put in a second succession of cosmos and taken this one out, but you live and learn. Next year I'll make sure that I put in 2 successions of cosmos. This one's kind of getting hard to find the good quality stems on now, the long stems that aren't all branching and have all kinds of stages of flowers on the plant. But that's been really good. I'm looking forward to getting that chopped down and put into the compost pile. And then I've got all of the amaranthus. So there's about 20 meters of amaranthus here. It has kind of been good, but also I haven't used a lot of it because I think this year I was expecting maybe to have a few more wedding flower customers, and in the end I had quite a lot of bouquet customers and subscription customers, and I tended not to use these in my hand-tied bouquets. I maybe could have used it a little bit more, but nevertheless it is a good flower that I can pick and dry, so I'll be able to use that in my upcoming autumn wreath making workshops and also Christmas wreath making workshops. So it's not going to go to waste. I'm going to be able to pick it and dry it, so that's a job that really needs doing ASAP before it kind of starts turning and starting to go a little bit brown, which it is doing a bit already. And then here I've got another quite productive bed, which has been the where the low tunnel was. I gave them an initial bit of protection to be able to give them a little bit of extra heat in spring. I actually had the cover off the tunnel for the majority of the summer, just because it has been quite a nice warm summer and dry summer this year. So the zinnias, phlox, etc. have done really well this season, and I think I'm going to do exactly the same thing again next year. So all of those flowers have been really useful, and they're kind of ready to be cut back now. I'm going to give them another couple of weeks because I've got one more round of my subscription flowers to do, and then I can basically take everything out of this field. So that's the only commitment I've got left with the flowers after that. And then here I've got 2 beds that I planted in July time, which is the I think it's Italian white sunflowers, Pro-Cut plum sunflowers. I've got some rudbeckias there, and also some small patch of corn, cockle, and then some grasses at the back there. So there's some really nice things that have been going into my autumnal bouquets, and that's worked really well as a last succession. And then in this bed here I have lots of biennials that did go in last autumn, I think, or even very early on this year. The foxgloves didn't produce any flowers, so I'm leaving those in until next year, and I'm also going to leave in some of the hesperis and sweet williams and see what they do, see whether they'll come back to me next year and produce flowers. And then I also have a bunch of biennials that I have seeded that are ready to plant out as well. So I'm going to be working quite busily over the next couple of weeks to get those biennials in the ground. I would also like to get some hardy annuals in the ground, but unfortunately they haven't grown as quick as I thought they were going to do. I was hoping that they were going to be a little bit larger by now, and I would be able to plant them out, but I can give them a couple more weeks. And I've just I did sow them outside, but I've just moved them into the greenhouse to hopefully bring them on a little bit quicker, so that I can get them planted out into the field before winter, because I would prefer for them to be in the ground, putting roots down in the ground, rather than having to kind of coddle them in pots and things like that. So there's a quarter of this biennial bed at the end that's empty, that I cleared out yesterday, that had mallow in it, that I'm going to fill up with a few more extra biennials, and then this bed will just be full of biennials, a 30-metre long section. And I think when I looked yesterday, I've still got about 260 foxgloves in trays that need planting out. So it's definitely going to overspill into another field, or into another bed, but I think I might plant them out at the front of the farm rather than in the back here, because like I said in a previous video, I think it was maybe the last video that I did, the front field hasn't been looking so nice in the last year or so, and I think I need to bring more colour and maybe a couple more annual beds into that front field, just to make it look a bit more attractive to my customers that come to visit the farm in the form of workshops. So foxgloves might be an element of that, so we'll see. So this bed here was my first succession of sunflowers, and yesterday I cut down everything in this bed, and I used the scythe mower at the back there just to chop down a extremely weedy section at the back of the field there. There's probably about a 10-metre section that was very overgrown, and now it's being cut back. So this is going to go into a cover crop, which I'm really excited about. So what I'm going to do is broad fork this, just to add some extra aeration to it, because I think I did walk on this a little bit over the summer, so I just want to make sure that it's not getting compacted and I can add some more air into this soil. And then I'm going to inoculate it with a worm castings tea, and then I will probably do something along the lines of inoculate my cover crop seed with worm castings as well. So I'll probably rub them around in some worm castings or something like that, and then sow them directly just by broadcasting by hand here. And then I will cover it with a little bit more compost, rake it in, water it well, and hopefully the cover crop will take well. Last year I tried to grow a cover crop in one of the beds here, and it didn't work out well, and I think it's the method that I used to sow it just didn't produce a very good germination rate on the cover crop. So this year I need to nail it. I need to get the technique down so that the cover crops have maximum efficiency in what I want them to do, which is improve the soil. So we'll see about that. So down here I'm just near the cold frame and the outdoor shelving area, and I've got some of the biennials that I spoke to you about a minute ago, which is the foxgloves here, the wallflowers, and more foxgloves and some Canterbury bells and things like that. I think I'm going to put the Canterbury bells under the tunnel in that field, just because I have grown them out in the field before and they were quite stunted, and they do well in the big polytunnel. So I'm still struggling majorly with the polytunnel. It's very difficult for me to get it under control, but I'm hoping that in the next few weeks I'm going to mow it all down and cover it over. Have you ever seen anything more chaotic than that? Cover it over with some black plastic and kill it all off for a few weeks or a couple of months, or even until spring, just to kill everything off, and then sow cover crop into it and see how we get on from there. I seriously need to improve the soil in there, and I think that's why all those weeds are growing, because they're trying to repair the soil. So I'll take you on that journey. I know it's been like a year now since I said I need to fix the polytunnel, but it just gets on top of me, and everything else always seems more important than that. But I know that it is a very key growing space that is very valuable, and I want to be able to utilise it. So it really needs sorting, but it's just one of those things that always seems to work for a little bit and then it goes wrong again. So So yeah, we'll hopefully get there one day, and I'll share my secret with you guys, but I presume most of you have got your polytunnels under control, so you don't need my advice on that. So yeah, basically that's what's been going on in this field here. I'm just about ready to pull everything up. I just need to wait for one more bouquet subscription flowers deliveries, which will probably be next month. I've been doing them in the middle of each month, so middle of October, before the first frosts, and I will be able to pull everything up and get it all cleared out. So then I've got some rings here that I've been dotting around the place so that I can start making compost around the farm, and like I said, I'm ready to make my first heap anytime soon. Every time I get a bit of a spare moment, I just cut down some of the elder that we've got growing around all over the place and chip it down, ready to compost the wood chips from that. So hopefully we'll be able to create a bit of a circular economy, and everything's going to be locally sourced in the compost piles, and that's going to be perfect for encouraging the microbes that are local to this area to thrive within the soil. So yeah, I know that I'm kind of ranting on about the soil biology and things, but I'm really passionate about it, and I know that some of you are quite nerdy about it too, so I hope you enjoy this kind of content, because this is where it's heading. Yeah, there's nothing else much to tell you about this field, so I'll head across to the front field, which is where most of my perennials are, and chat to you a little bit about that, and then tell you about my exciting news. So we're here around the front of the farm now, and you might recognise this project here, which I started off in the last couple of videos. I think I showed you the process of putting this thing together. We're just waiting for roofing materials now, and obviously Rob's been busy trying to get his crops in this autumn too, so that's kind of been put on hold. But that's my new compost station. That's where I'm going to be storing all of my tools and things for the farm, so I think this area is going to be very useful in this field, and looking forward to utilising the space. And then next to it here I've got a couple of bits of composting equipment and things. I've got the rings here which are ready to receive a new batch of thermophilic compost. This is the first trial of a compost heap that I started off a few weeks ago. It turns out that I put too much high nitrogen material in that pile, which caused it to kind of get very, very hot very quickly, and then it didn't reach the third stage of heating after I'd mixed it a second time. So I've kind of just tipped that out. That was in one of these mesh rings, but I've tipped that out and just left it there to mature, and then maybe if I turn it every now and again, it will eventually break down and be a usable mulch thing. So we'll see how that goes, and I can have a look at it under the microscope when my new one arrives. So I'm looking forward to that. And then here I have a cold composting pile, which is just going to be one that I gradually put things into as they are used on the farm. So what I've been trying to do is, when I've been cutting stems and things in my workshop making bouquets, I cut them up really finely, put them in here, and then I try to add a layer of browns or carbon rich materials on top of the green or nitrogen materials. So I've been mixing in leaves, wood chips, straw with all of the leaf trimmings and things like that. So I've been stripping a lot of sedum leaves off lately because I've been picking a lot of sedum, so that's been going in there. So hopefully that's going to create a nice slow burn compost pile. So once that's full, I will leave it for a while and then transfer it into another one just to give it a mixing, and then move them along as they mature, and then hopefully within sort of a year or so I'll have some compost to use. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got another mesh cage around here to set up new compost piles, and then I also have a Johnson Sue bioreactor that I need to fill up as well. So I've got lots of work to do in the composting department, but it's just finding the time to do it at the moment. It feels a bit like it's an extracurricular activity, and I've got real work to be doing instead of composting, but I really enjoy it. So at the end of each day I usually set aside some time to allow myself to indulge in making compost, or at least putting the materials together for making compost. So but in regards to the rest of this field, not a lot has changed really, but I've been trying very hard this summer to feed the dahlias enough so that I can see a noticeable difference in the Brix reading via the Brix refractometer. So basically, I've mentioned this before in one of my videos, Brix is a measure of the sugars and dissolved minerals inside a plant leaf. So you would take a leaf off the plant. I usually just crush it up with a pestle and mortar, and then I take some of that liquid, drop it onto the glass cover of the refractometer, look up to the sun and take a reading off it. And plants with a Brix above 6 should deter all pests, but I can't seem to get my plants above kind of 6 or 7. So I've been feeding them with liquid seaweed, fish hydrolysate, worm castings extract, and those kind of things. So what I'm hoping to do is brew up some compost teas, give them a foliar spray, and also I think one of the main things that's probably affecting the nutrient availability in the soil at the moment is the dry weather. I think it's been difficult for the plants to take up nutrients because of the lack of moisture in the soil. That's my theory anyway, but we'll see. I should have maybe watered them a little bit more, and maybe I could have fed them a little bit more often as well. I've only probably given them, in the last couple of months, I've given them 3 or 4 feeds altogether, so I maybe could have been hitting them a little bit harder with the seaweed and fish hydrolysate and things, but we will continue to work on that, and it's not something that you can really over apply, so I'm just going to keep on adding those things, and hopefully this soil biology will eventually take over from me and work with the plants to give them the nutrients that they need and make some high Brix plants. So we'll see in the future, hopefully that will happen, and I'm going to jump for joy when I finally see that Brix level go above 12. Things are pretty much the same in this area of the field. I planted some new perennials in here the other week, just a few hypericums and things, and I have got some more perennials to go in, echinaceas, and I've got some hydrangeas as well that need planting out. So I prepared a bed the other day, which is this annual bed here that's at the beginning of the field, just here. So I pulled up the plants that were there. This was a Nigella bed, and I gave it a worm castings extract feed and some fish hydrolysate and things just to feed the microbes, and then I laid a fresh piece of weed membrane on, so I just need to burn some holes in that with the appropriate plant spacing for my new perennials, and then the echinaceas and things are going to go in this bed, and then I also have some sedums and things that I want to plant, so those all need doing, and that's kind of a priority really that I need to get sorted as soon as possible. So this is the area that I really want to work on, perhaps over winter and into spring. It's kind of always looking a bit messy and a bit patchy, so I would like to maybe put some of the foxgloves and things in here and just make it look a little bit more attractive than it is doing at the moment. So maybe I'll incorporate some annual beds, and yeah, I need to really, because my focus has been on that back field for the last couple of years, so as I've got that set up and running, I really need to kind of bring my focus back into this field and make it look a bit nicer than and not only look nicer but become a bit more productive, because I haven't really been picking a lot from this side of the field, but it is quite a large area that I could be cropping from, so I really need to make the most of what I've got, and yeah, hopefully that will work out and everything's going to look beautiful next year. I'll take you over to the TP because I've got a workshop on tomorrow morning, which is a autumn wreath making workshop. I had one last weekend as well, which was really nice. I'm looking forward to inviting everybody into the TP again tomorrow. I've got a few new workshops up on my website, such as a floral pumpkin workshop. I've got another autumn wreath making workshop, and I've got a couple of Christmas wreath making workshops. And as usual, I do those kind of workshops at Christmas, and I also do private wreath making workshops at Christmas. So I allow groups of 6+ to come and do a private workshop in the TP, and that's always good fun because everybody's good friends already and they have kind of a laugh and some banter. So the TP is looking really, really gorgeous at the moment. I'm really happy with the way that it looks. I'm going to turn the lights on 1 second. So I've got the majority of the flowers and foliages and things. I probably just need to pick some few extra bits of foliage and bits and bobs, and I've got the spaces set up so that they've got a wreath ring, and then they've got some snips and some wire ready to create a nice autumn wreath. And the sun is shining today, so it's nice and warm in here, and I'm hoping that everyone's going to enjoy the day tomorrow. And on the subject of workshops, this is where my news announcement comes in. So there's a lot of you online who I have been able to connect with who live all over the world, and I feel so grateful to have the audience, and I really wanted to bring something to you guys so that you are able to join in on the learning. And although you can't make it here to the TP, which I wish you all could, I think we would have a great time all together in the TP running workshops and just talking about flowers and flower farming and things. But unfortunately that's not the case. So what I wanted to do was bring some online workshops that are available to everyone. So as of Sunday evening, my first online workshop will be going live. So if you're watching this video on Sunday evening, then head over to my website. It's www.bloomandgrey.co.uk, and you will find information on my new online workshop. So my first online workshop is a hand-tied bouquet workshop. It's different to the videos that I usually create on making bouquets because I'm talking you through the process, and I'm giving you a recipe for types of flowers that can be used in arrangements and that create really kind of nice looking bouquets and in the style that I create bouquets in. So I'm talking you through that process, and the videos are available to watch whenever you like. So it's not a live workshop per se. You can log into the special area of the website where my online workshop is hosted, and you can watch that video over and over again. And also this afternoon I'm going to be filming my second online workshop offering, which is going to be an autumn wreath workshop. So the workshop that I'm going to be running in here tomorrow on autumn wreaths, I'm going to be creating an online version of that that's going to be available hopefully by the end of next week or the week after, for you to purchase as well. I'll leave the link down in the description, so if you want to find out any more information about the online workshops, then you can go to the website and find out all about those. So as you can see, as usual, I have been a very busy bee, and that's why the videos have been a little bit quiet lately, and I'm hoping that with all of the projects up and coming in the pipeline that I'll be able to film all of those and put them on YouTube ready for you to watch. And as usual, during the winter I have lots of projects going on and things, so, and a little bit more time for editing, so hopefully I'll be bringing videos to you throughout the winter as well. So thank you so much guys for watching, and I would absolutely love it if you could support me by purchasing my online workshop, and also you can support me by purchasing my brand new merchandise. So if you check out my online shop on my website, you will be able to find new merchandise, Bloom and Grey merchandise. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for supporting me, and I will see you on the next one.